Hey guys, I actually had a different video planned for this week, but as it happens, this particular subject matter is trending all over Twitter and I thought it was important to address. There has been another terrorist attack. This time it's in New Zealand, and it's not what you think. This time, the victims happen to be Muslim. Yes. Surprising that that can happen. So, say what it is.
Say what it is.
Are you
Say what it is.
I'll say what it is. It's terrorism. What has been frustrating me about this particular tragedy is how everyone is jumping on board to politicize the issue and make it about them versus them, left versus right. I'm not going to do that because people have died and they happen to be Muslim. They are part of our human family, so let us mourn and grieve the loss of these lives that have been lost by the act of a moron, by the act of a madman. So, what exactly is being said? Well, people who I'm actually acquainted with, and I know quite well, are politicizing this very issue. I'll read you some of the tweets. This one. The Christchurch terrorists just did more damage to us as a nation than any Islamic terrorist could ever hope to do. It is exactly what the left wants and needs to further isolate, asphyxiate, and eventually eliminate white people and Christian culture. Okay, and whether that is true or not, do you really think this is the time and place to state that? Let's get to the politics later and focus on the tragedy now and getting the facts straight, because even that is yet to be sorted out. No one knows the actual facts. There's a lot of things flying out. So let's establish that first, shall we? There will be a massive attack on all nationalists from the media, government and elites in the coming days. We will overcome and eventually take back our nations. Again, whether that is right or whether that is wrong, these statements can be stated. I'm not saying that they're not allowed to be stated, but there's a right time to do it, and right now is not the right time. Fraser Anning, someone that I've interviewed myself and happen to be a fan of, stated, "I am utterly opposed to any form of violence within our community and I totally condemn the actions of the gunman." That's good. What is ironic is the following line. However, whilst this kind of violent vigilantism can never be justified, what it highlights is the growing fear within our community, both in Australia and New Zealand, of the increasing Muslim presence. The real cause of bloodshed on New Zealand streets today is the immigration program, which allowed Muslim fanatics to migrate to New Zealand in the first place. Let us be clear, while Muslims may have been the victims today, usually they are the perpetrators. Worldwide, Muslims are killing people in the name of their faith on an industrial scale. The entire religion of Islam is simply the violent ideology of a 6th century despot masquerading as a religious leader, which justifies endless war against anyone who opposes it and calls for the murder of unbelievers and apostates. The truth is that Islam is not like any other faith. It is the religious equivalent of fascism, and just because the followers of this savage belief were not the killers in this instance does not make them blameless. Why do I disagree with this statement? Now, I'm not going to comment on what I believe and what I don't believe regarding Islam, because my thoughts on Islam have been well documented. You can just see through my channel how much I critique it and how much I find the ideology at large to be flawed. But one man's actions on this occasion cannot and will not justify his actions, just because of the history and the pattern that does exist with Islam, that does exist with terrorism at large. This does not excuse past behaviours. Again, you can state that, but is right now the time to politicize a tragedy where 49 people have died? What bothers me about the line is that if things get really bad, people react. And the way they react is through violence. But there is a double standard here. Whilst the statistical average clearly states that Muslim terrorism dominates, this does not mean that terrorism cannot exist in any other form or cannot have isolated lone wolf attacks like this man. We are so quick to state automatically it was Muslim, but sometimes it isn't. Get the facts first. So what are the facts? This is what we know. The New Zealand shooter hated conservatism. He called himself an eco-fascist and admired communist China. The gunman has been identified as 28-year-old Brenton Tarrant, an Australian. He had an anti-immigration manifesto that he put up on 8chan on a live stream warning people about what he was going to do. What ensued was 2 mass shootings on a Friday at mosques in New Zealand. At least 49 have died and 48 are injured. The alleged motive at this stage is white supremacy and anti-Muslim sentiments. The footage shows him shooting worshippers, then stopping, leaving, and coming back with another gun to continue shooting. The people on 8chan applauded his attack. The shooter admired Dylan Roof, the Charleston Church killer. The shooter also admired Anders Behring Breivik. In case you don't know who that is, he is a Norwegian killer that killed 77 people in 2011 over anti-immigrant sentiments. He claimed to belong to the group known as Order of Christian Knight Templars.
And by the sacred parchment, I swear that if I reveal the secrets of the stonecutters, may my stomach become bloated and my head be plucked of all but 3 hairs.
I think you should have to take a different oath.
Everyone takes the same oath.
Just for a quick backstory to what that means, it is a secret society of monks who became knights and helped fight in the crusade. So the claim is he's a white supremacist, yet the people who inspired him to, do this attack were Candace Cameron. For those who don't know who that is, she's a conservative political pundit who happens to be African American and really beautiful. The killer wrote, "If I don't survive the attack, goodbye, God bless, and see you all in Valhalla." This guy is not delusional. He is writing these things with an intention. Ben Shapiro's tweet actually encapsulates this perfectly. Do not share the shooter's name. Do not share the shooter's evil video. Do not share the shooter's evil manifesto. Mass killers desire fame and attention. Starve them of it. Stalin, Lenin, Mao, Hitler. These are people who had the intent to kill, and they killed millions. They just did it because they wanted to. I don't like hearing mental illness blamed, because oftentimes mental illness is used as a crutch to get out of something bigger. This personal responsibility is no longer on them, it's on a disability. Well, I know people with mental disabilities. I know people who have anxiety, depression, bipolar, and they would not act this way. So if that gets mentioned at any capacity during this time frame of people politicizing, just remember, he had an intent to kill, and he did it, and now we are all talking about it. I'm not helping with this video. You have an intent to kill, you should be charged with that intention. It's scary, and I'm so sorry to those who went through that. I really am. And also to the killer, do you really think you've helped the situation at all? Honestly, do you really think you've helped the West by this act alone? Do you really think the bloodshed that you've committed is worth what may come? Because historically speaking, do you know what happens when one does something as innocent as joke about the prophet of the religion of peace and what that leads to? You have not helped the situation at all. In fact, you've escalated things a lot further, and I'm scared of what's to come. Anyway, tune in for my next video or live stream. Give this video a thumbs up or a thumbs down. Click on the bell if you want to get notified, and also I have joined Subscribe Star.